Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over a whale strategy called buy, borrow, die, and I want to modify it for people that use DeFi or decentralized finance. The reason why I'm making this video is because earlier this in the month I was starting to prepare for my taxes, and decentralized finance unfortunately creates some tricky problems in terms of taxes. So every time you swap a token, you trigger a capital gains or a taxable event, and normally that's not too big of an issue. Uh, it only becomes an issue if you bought like some higher value digital assets such as Bitcoin or Ethereum like earlier in their life cycle. So like for example, uh, like you bought Bitcoin at like $10 like years ago, and now it's worth maybe around 40,000. So every time, like for example, like you swap it for something else, that could trigger a big like a like a big capital gains that you might not want to go through. And some tax professionals actually consider wrapping tokens to be a taxable event, because technically, let's say for example, you go from Bitcoin to Ren BTC or Wrap BTC, because it's technically a different token. Um, there are some that say like if you want to be conservative, you should treat that as a taxable event, and that becomes a problem. Like say like your cost basis for Bitcoin is $10, and that but now like the sale becomes like like 40,000. Then you have like $39,000 like worth of like gains, and some people like myself like I mean it doesn't feel like a real gain because like you haven't really done much with it. But anyway, this is not, like formal tax advice, so you should consider getting a tax professional in your area just to go over what the pros and cons are of that. And this is just as the video to kind of like maybe show you like a way to maybe sidestep um, this type of problem. This way you can use your tokens for staking or yield farming. Um, One thing to be aware of, like if you do decide to use the buy, borrow, die strategy, like the first time you take out a loan, that won't be a taxable event. Well, in certain countries, but if you get liquidated, it will be because like you're swapping out one token for another. So you have to watch your loan to value ratios. And any like say for example, if you use like like you take out a USDC or USDT loan, and then you use that to swap for other tokens so you can do some yield farming. That will also create like taxable events. So there's no way around it unless you just like use that for um like you put it in like another platform to like get interest. Um, so let me uh, keep going here. So like, why would you want to do stuff like this? It's generally more tax efficient, because even if you pay like an interest rate on like certain platforms, it should generally still be lower than what your ordinary or even your capital gains rate for certain transactions. Um, so, and then in the future, there might be protocols that will allow you to earn interest on your collateral while you also using your loans at the same time. For example, technically Alchemex is already out, but they're transitioning to a V2. So I'm gonna wait for them to fully come out, for the V2 come out, and then do a review on that because I think that could be a really handy platform to use. But in the meantime, let me go over some like a few options that you can go through. For example, a budget option for some people could be using Solend on the Solana network. As you can see, you can deposit a few like higher quality assets, like for example Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, and then you can take out like a few. Either you can take out like a similar asset, such as like MSol is a staked version of Solana. And then you can do swaps that way, or you can just like take out loans directly in USDC or USDT directly. Um, but be careful, like if you go over to like the borrow APY, some of these um, like APYs aren't exactly that low. Basically, you're getting some SLND tokens back, so that helps like subsidize like the rates. So these aren't like the true rates. Like you still have to swap out like the SLND tokens for maybe like in the same token that you're taking out the loan in. Like for example, um, like USDC, like you probably have to swap out SLND for USDC and then kind of pay down the loan that way. Um, so it's just something to be aware of. And then sorry for if you hear like these little beeps because I'm still on doing some stuff in Discord as well. So sorry about that. I'll turn it off like for the next video. And if these type of videos like help you or you want different types of videos, like let me know like for suggestions for topics in the comments below. And then if you could hit the like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And then another good budget option is Anchor on the Terra Luna network. I've covered them before, and I find them to be like a very helpful. Right now, you can only use B Luna or B ETH as a collateral, and then you can borrow like USD, their UST stablecoin. But supposedly like B Sol is coming in a few weeks, so I'm gonna look out for that as well. And then when they do, I'll also make a video on that as well. And again, be careful with the net APR because you're borrowing in like 15.66% in UST, but like you get some of it back in anchor tokens, so it's ANC. So like you're paying out 15.66%, but then you're getting back 12.02, and that's how they get the net APR. So again, that's something to be aware of. Like you have to kind of like swap out the ANC for UST to kind of help push down your net interest rate. And 3.64 isn't too bad, considering like again, it would still be lower than most people's ordinary income rates, and I would think in most countries, and then also like 3.64, like it kind of stinks that now before like you actually got paid to borrow, but now you're actually paying out UST, but I mean it's still cheaper than like paying a whole bunch of money in taxes. I'd rather pay Anchor than pay like whatever government that that you're currently living in. But that's just my opinion. Um, Again, not financial advice or anything. It's just like to me it just makes more economic sense. Um, and let me move on to the next one because I think Abracadabra is also a very interesting platform. In this example, I'm just using Arbitrum, but they're also you can use them on Avalanche and Phantom as well if you want like even cheaper options. But the reason why I'm just picking Arbitrum is because some people also could probably have like a bunch of ETH, and this is one of the few ones where I find like the interest that you're paying like to be like pretty like ridiculously cheap. Um, and I guess in keeping the spirit with like DeFi, like I would prefer to use like a decentralized platform such as Abracadabra Money, and then borrow some. Here's the thing: like when you're borrowing something called MIM, so it's the Magic Internet Money stablecoin, and then you have to kind of swap it. Well, depending on what you do, you might have to swap MIM for like another stable coin, depending on what kind of yield farm that you're on. But like so far this one, it has like a lot of like MIM available because in some other platforms like there's not enough MIM for like the collateral, so you have to kind of watch out for that. Um, and then another option for Ethereum users is Liquity. But of course like the bad part is that like you'd have to pay um, like the Ethereum gas fees, so that's like a negative. And then, but the cool thing is it's interest free. And then another thing you have to watch out for, it's again, you have to use like LUSD. So then you'd have to go to Curve or another platform to swap it out for another stable coin that you want to use. Um, the liquidity, like just looking around, like it's not that great. You basically like have to go to US, you have to go to like Curve Finance to swap it out for like another stable coin. And I wish like there was more liquidity. Otherwise, I think this would be like a really good option. And by the way, there's something called Vesta Finance that's I think that's backed by Tetranode, and that's kind of like a fork of Liquity that you will be able to use on Arbitrum and maybe other platforms as well in the future. So something that that I'm gonna look out for, and hopefully it won't have like the same. I hope the liquidity will be better, and then like the gas prices will be cheaper on Arbitrum. So this could be something to look out for. It really depends on how many uh, each Ethereum that you have. So yeah, so the next one is again for big blubbery whales on Coinbase. Um, this one I'm guessing is probably not as popular. Uh, but again, it really depends on your situation. That's why I put it for like big blubbery whales. You can actually borrow cash, US dollars, against like your Bitcoin. So this could be really useful if like one like you're a whale, because it says here you can borrow up to like $1 million. So you like let's say for example you're a big whale and you want to kind of diversify into like maybe like a rental property in your area or something. So this could be a really good option. The 8% APR isn't like the greatest, but again, it's still cheaper than paying money to like the government. Like say like if you create like a taxable transaction, like you have to weigh the interest rate versus the like the cost of like the taxable event. And I think for most people, again, 8% is a lot for like a loan, but it's still cheaper than like let's say like 20% in capital gains tax. So it's something to look out for. And of course there's like you have to read the fine print. Like you have to look at it to see if it's available in your area. So it looks like right now, unfortunately, it's kind of limited to the U.S. states. And then there's also like a fixed term loans. So I'm guessing that'll be like a higher APR than like this 8% over here, because this will probably be like maybe like a teaser loan or something. So again, if you decide to to look at this option, like just check the interest rate before you go for it. Um, Additional items of note: please keep track of your interest rates, because like the whole point of taking out a loan is that like maybe you found like a better option to invest the proceeds in. So for example, if you're borrowing at like 4%, chances are like you probably found like another rate of interest, like maybe in like a yield farm somewhere that like pays more than that. And then like usually most yield farms like they kind of like die down like after like a few months. So you have to keep on top of your interest rates to make sure like you're still net positive. So I mean, it sounds obvious, like, but sometimes like when you're in multiple yield farms, it's hard to keep track. So just do your best. Like keep a spreadsheet somewhere. Excuse me. And then obviously the caveats are you want to always watch out for contract risk. Some of these projects are still in progress, and of course, like none of this is financial or tax advice because it's impossible for one person to even if you are a tax professional to like give advice for like so many jurisdictions. And then in terms of like which is better, like if you just want to like continue swapping, I think if you have like a high cost basis, like I think and you don't want to go through the hassle of monitoring like your loan to value, you could probably just keep doing what you're doing. Um, but I think like as you make more money, like this will be like a really good strategy, like the buy borrow die, um, DeFi. Well, like the more money that you make, the more like this borrowing money to do your financial will make more sense to you. Um, and of course, like when you just decide to borrow, like you have to always watch your loan to value ratios so you don't get liquidated because like otherwise like that'll defeat the purpose of doing the borrowing. And and why I'm really excited for this is because there's so many platforms that are coming out that'll help improve upon like this buy borrow die strategy. Because actually, the like buy borrow die is something from like traditional finance where like the rich they could actually borrow against like their portfolio of assets. Like say like they have like yachts and like their private jets and their like paintings and like their mansion and like their like like s- in addition to like their stocks, they might have like private stock. And like if you're a billionaire, you can go to your bank and like you can kind of cut a deal like this is hey this is what I have to put up as collateral. And like private bankers will just like say, oh well, we're gonna do like some assessment of like this collateral value, and here's some money that you can use to put up against it. But that's not for most people. Like people don't have access to that. Like even if you have like a good like conservative like stock portfolio, there's not that many places where you can actually get like a loan against it. Um, you might be able to get like a margin loan, like say like at Interactive Brokers, for example. But that's probably like the best you can do. But in like the world of decentralized finance, like there's so many like options, like and like this is just like a sample, right? This doesn't cover everything. Like there's been like some uh like the old standbys, like say like Compound or like Aave or maybe even like the Iron Bank from like Yearn. Um, and then like they're good, but like I think like some of the newer ones that'll be coming out, I think that'll uh make make people lives easier on like some of the either the layer twos or some of the alternative like layer ones. Like so I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. So and I hope to bring you those platforms in the future. So thank you for watching and please like and subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye now.